Hello, everybody. Oh, froggy throat, sorry. Happy New Year to everyone. Pretty soon, it's 3:15 as I'm starting this live, so in a few hours, we're in 2022. Even just saying 2022 feels so weird to me because I grew up, born in the late 60s. And we used to think the year 2000 was just some faraway space age Star Trek time that we'd never see. And now it's like 2022. What? It's still around? Just feels funny to say it. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about the numerology of this year before we get into the chart and the cards and your readings. So it's a beautiful number because twos are about partnerships and relationships and bonding. Something that I don't know anybody on the planet who isn't thinking or rethinking their relationships in this last pandemic period. Everybody that I know. You either bonded closer with some or you realize it's not working. It's not authentic. You outgrew or you grew closer to or you want different things. But I do see an upward trend over the last year, especially of more people reflecting and more people also wanting to have real relationships and real intimacy with people. So this pandemic has been a weird blessing on that level, that it's pulled us away from that freight train of a time where everything was becoming Tinderized, for lack of a better word. Everything was becoming swiping and hooking up, and yet people were so lonely but so busy. We didn't stop. Now, pandemic was like, stop it. And so a lot of healing taking place, even though some of it is painful as we heal, but we so needed to. So I find it refreshing that people are being more real and want to have better quality relationships. And so a 2, let alone 222, could be a great time for relationships this year. Second thing is that when you get a double number, let alone a triple, you get a very high energy. You get a master number. 22 is a master number. So it's 222. So this means incredible manifestation year, okay? Now, that could go in any direction, because manifestation is really just a matter of like, how do you catalyze certain energy from whatever you're feeling into action in the outward world and bringing to you, magnetizing something that you want. Now, it's really tricky line to talk about this, because manifesting does not work if you're craving. Craving is like, what I really want. Craving will just manifest more craving. Authenticity will manifest more on authenticity. Intimacy, real intimacy, will magnetize more real intimacy, honesty, and so on. So you have to embody and really feel real with whatever you want to manifest, because what manifests will be what you set into motion. So if you're sad, but you're saying, oh, but I really want this to be different, or I wish, or I hope, or something that feels like it's not going to happen, and you're praying for it, or you're craving something, you're not going to manifest it. You're going to set up more craving and disappointment and distance from what you want. So if you want to, and this is a really strong year that's going to manifest whatever's inside, is why I'm bringing this up. When you've got 222, 22, whatever people have inside is going to be magnified outwards. It's going to be a water tiger year starting February 1st. Tigers are very passionate folks. They're very independent as well. You're not going to tell the tiger to go sit in the corner. The tiger will go its own way. The tiger is powerful and strong, and it'll take care of itself. It'll hunt if it needs to, and it won't suffer you if it doesn't want to. So we're going to see that in the air as well. A lot of hyper independence, a lot of bold moves. A lot of people might make bold announcements. That could be anything from, your friend announces that they're quitting their job or moving to a different town, all the way up to any other kind of announcements, that can come over the airwaves that affect us. So boldness, bold moves. Now, manifestation also is a word in French. Manifestation means protest. We're going to see that too. We're going to see protesting. We're going to see uprising energy, rebellious energy. Take no crap. We're sick of this busting out of what people are feeling confined by. Now, some of that might be irrational and destructive, and some of that might be really necessary. On a personal level, look at it, think about it for yourself. What do you feel you need to bust out of? If you're feeling constrained, or if you're feeling claustrophobic, if you're feeling trapped or caged in some area of your life or you're within yourself, there's going to be a need for you to push through it. The intensity is high with emotion this year. The thing is, what we want to manifest or use this energy for is to make those bold moves be about being courageous in your actions, with your healing, with your self-care, with your willingness to step up and be and lead, perhaps, with your boldness to take a risk that is something overdue that you want, that makes you happy. Your bold risk might be something about getting therapy if you've been, miserable about something for too long, and the bold move is to say, I don't feel good. I've got to get help. I'm stuck. This isn't just going to magically go away for me, And then other people are going to use this manifestation energy to move mountains and do amazing work, whether it's creative, whether it's travels, whether it's setting in motion some ideas, maybe innovation. We could see a lot of innovation in a tiger year too. We could see, because like the tiger, and it corresponds to Aquarius. And so it's all about like a sudden flash of insight or inspiration or eureka or like electricity or, why isn't this possible? If I can see it in my mind, it should be possible. Let's find a way. So tigers and Aquarius can be very like inventor. Now, on an interpersonal level, another thing that we have to look at with the number twos, all those twos, and with a water tiger, is sometimes the emotions are just so high and the desire to bond and connect is like so intense. We could see a lot of people saying, oh, I've found my soulmate this year. I've found my twin flame. And some people might, and a lot of people will be in like a very intense, dramatic, or needy kind of energy. Because a two can also be a number of codependency. You want to bond, but you don't want to mesh and merge yourself and get all messed up as to what's mine and what's theirs and who am I versus them. And so I'm seeing a lot of sudden programs around boundaries popping up, and books and in the spiritual community. I've worked hard on this in my life too, but it's a constant thing. You have to relearn and relearn and revisit. If you did not grow up with a sense of healthy boundaries, it wasn't imprinted in you. Pardon me, you have to keep relearning it. And there's some great resources out there. I'm not teaching a course on it. Maybe I could, but I would highly recommend one lady on YouTube here, Terry Cole. Terry Cole is a psychotherapist from New York City, and she's got a book called Boundary Boss. And she's got a lot of other great videos too, and she just seems like the most warm-hearted lady. You know, I would love to talk with her. So we're going to see a need for learning about boundaries in a 222 water tiger year. For sure. I'm expecting a lot of love readings to come to my door this year. But as I said, everyone is wanting more intimacy and connection. And so even if when we first do that, after we've been isolated for a long time or cynical or just flipping through profiles, of course we're going to be raw and tender. Of course we're going to mess it up a bit as we come back into our desire to actually connect emotionally. It's going to be messy at times with people, but if you're willing to come see somebody to help you, such as myself, such as this therapist, Terry Cole, many other wonderful healers, therapists, coaches, counselors, yoga teachers, whoever you feel can help you and gets you. Just be willing this year to say, you know what, I'm going to work through my emotions. Something comes up. I'm going to be willing to work through my emotions around this. And you're going to see a lot of progress because there'll be a lot of heightened emotion. It might come your way. You might not be you, but you'll be a recipient even if you're not the participant of a lot of high emotion. And I don't want to give people an idea it'll be a bad year. It's just that what I like to say with the tiger is that the volume is always at 9 out of 10 with the tiger. They don't relax. They don't chill. You know, everything is done. They're multi-talented people, very smart people. They usually have a number of skills and they're interested in everything. And there's a bit of drama with the tigers that I've seen too, because of this intensity. And they need to have a very encompassing activity or career or hobby or something to apply all of that passion towards, because when it's projected onto relationships, it tends to be too intense and then it creates divisions or dramas. So I'm fully expecting to see that in a year like this. But as I said, if you are willing to say, you know what, I'm tired of feeling the way I always feel. I'm tired of the patterns I always have. I encourage everybody to get over whatever judgment or shame you might have grown up with and say, you know what, I need some help with this. It doesn't always take years to move through some of this old yuck emotion and clear your mind and clear the path to have a healthier, happier life. So this year, those numbers, 222, add up to a 6. 6 is a number of healing. 6 is a number of healing and service and health. So all of this to say that this is what the number adds to. Make this a year of emotional healing, and you'll ride through and enjoy some of these waves that we're going to see and make a lot of progress in this year. All right, let's dive into the chart of this new moon in Capricorn. It's happening January 2nd and at 1:33 p.m. Eastern time, so New York time. All right. So If you're born in the Eastern time zone, the chart is a Taurus as a rising sign. So Eastern time zone, it's going to be a very earthy new year. Very. All this Capricorn planets, lots of them. 4. Well, actually officially 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. No, 4. Sorry, 4. I was going to say 5, but it's actually 4 because Mercury has just moved to Aquarius. Just. So 4 planets in Capricorn, and then Uranus in Taurus, North Node in Taurus, Gemini, but a Taurus rising. So very down to earth. So what does that mean? Earth is all about the material plane. It's about your money. It's about your property. It's about your physical body. You could be feeling physically tired, achy. You might feel really grounded and centered in your body too. It can feel wonderful, but it can also, for anybody that's been going too hard or running too fast or not eating properly, or anxiety and stress has caught up to you, you might be really feeling this one physically. Because those planets in the earth signs tend to make us really feel that we're here in this body on planet Earth. And you feel the density and the weight of that. It's not like being in an air sign or a fire sign. We just came out of Sagittarius, where it feels like activated and bouncy, or where you're all in your head. This, we're very much in our body. So I would say it's good to ring in the new year with some level of practicality then. Like maybe you want to take a look at, reorganizing your fridge or your kitchen, get things feeling healthy. Maybe you want to tidy up, get rid of a few things. It's always a good New Year practice anyway. Maybe you want to stretch, go for a nice walk. If you can, get a massage or something like that. Salty bath. Do something on that sensual level. Taurus is very much about sensuality. So our new moon and sun are at 12 degrees of Capricorn, and they're sitting in house number 8. Right on the cusp of it, though, of number 9. Yeah, actually, right on the cusp. Okay. So that's interesting because usually the 8th house is about sex, death, and other people's money. It's the Scorpio house. And sun and the moon in the 8th house definitely speaks about inheritance, investments, old age, longevity, elderly. Yeah, could be elderly people. Can also be managing an estate, especially when it's Capricorn in that house. I would expect, if this was someone's actual birth chart, sun and moon in the 8th house would indicate definitely inheritances, and wealth. And that can be, it can be great or it can be a burden. You'd have to look at the rest of the chart. But you might be thinking a lot about your long-term future investments, long-term purchases. You might be thinking again, like way down the road for, since it's the 8th house of death as well, you might be thinking, what am I going to do in my old age? How long will I live? How am I going to afford my life if I live long? So that can be on our minds, and possibly a new year and a pandemic bring that out as well. But it's in the chart. But don't let it get you too down, because it's right on the cusp of the 9th house, and the 9th is much more uplifting, because now you're talking about travels and higher learning. So some of you might be applying that very ambitious sun, moon, Capricorn towards thinking, well, maybe I'm going to travel. Maybe I'm going to relocate. Maybe I'm going to take up some more studies in my life. So the theme, though, as you can feel already, is we're thinking of practical strategies for the structure of your life. You know, it's not uplifting, exciting, and it's not depressing either. It's just being practical. The next thing we have is that same sun moon in Capricorn is making a great aspect to that Uranus and Taurus. However, the Uranus and Taurus in this chart for the Eastern time zone is in the 12th house, which means people are feeling restless. Like here because I'm in Quebec, and they just announced yesterday that we all have curfews again, and we're back into a lockdown. So I can definitely tell you here, Quebecers are restless, are feeling like caged and restless because we suddenly can't manifest any of the plans that we had for the holidays. If you're in a different part of the world, well, I know New York is going through this too, but obviously if you're in Eastern time zone and you're in Florida, that's not what's happening there. However, Uranus and Taurus in the 12th house can give people dreams and nightmares because this rebellious earthquake type energy that I keep telling you is Uranus and Taurus is like things seem steady and then, there's like a deep earthquake or implosion underneath the surface. And with Taurus, it's slow, so it takes a while before you feel it. And then it's like, I've got to change something. I don't like this. Something has to be different, but it's like a slow moving type of powerful but deep, slow moving energy, as if it's like a submarine under the water almost, It shoots something and it's very powerful, but do we feel it on the surface? Not right away. Maybe not at all. Maybe it takes a while before we feel it or see it on the surface. So this is what Uranus and Taurus in the 12th is doing for this new moon. So you might want to be careful if you have any building feeling of frustration in you, because it could take a little while, but that's the kind of thing where if there's something slowly brewing in you that feels like it's ready to blow, and you, like Taurus, doesn't let that happen very, very often or hardly at all in life. So when they do, it's like stand out of the way. You might want to just be careful or ask yourself, like, is there anything that's been building up in me that I can acknowledge now before it becomes an earthquake, before it has that ripple effect that might affect your life in another way? Like maybe you can have an effect in your health. Or in the 12th house, though, I would expect you probably will be having a lot of dreams. So I would say really pay attention to your dreams this new moon. It might be a signal as to something that you really need to address. And that doesn't have to be a bad thing. It's just Uranus wants things to shake up. It's like, get me out of here. I just want to, I got to move. I got to get out of here. Something's got to change. It's sometimes scary to face things that you might realize, oh shit, I better change this. But it's rumbling and you should listen. But it's making such a good aspect to our sun and new moon that I think whatever is rumbling is probably a good thing that you address it. The energy is there with all that Capricorn for you to, if you do say, oh, this has really been a thing bothering me for a long time. Well, now all these ambitious energies in Capricorn, you're going to get out there and tackle the problem, take care of it, get on top of it. So I suggest, it's never a great idea to suppress things, but this is really saying, like, really, really pay attention to if you're suppressing. and really like say, wow, I've been suppressing it. This has been bugging me for too long. I have to do something and get her done, because it's just got this great practical vibe of getting her done. And that can be, like I said, getting help, asking for assistance. So the other thing that this new moon is doing is it's making a square to Chiron and Aries. Chiron, if you remember, is our asteroid that represents the wounded healer. And in Aries, it's like the wound of the self. What's that mean? Well, it means people that have difficulty feeling a sense of themselves. They might always put themselves last. They might not realize that they should be taking care of themselves better. They might always put themselves in a position where they end up feeling taken for granted or used or abused. They might not let people know that they're angry or what they need until it's way too late. So Chiron and Aries, that's there for all of us right now. Maybe all of us are working this out on some level. Now, the other way that the wound of Aries could play out is that it's on the other extreme, which would be like, it's all about you all of the time. And there's like an unhealthy obsession with yourself. But from what I've seen, most Chiron and Aries is the opposite. You're usually around the one who's around the narcissist, or not putting your own needs in the mix. And so the sun and moon squaring off with that. Again, you have to think about those areas where you are allowing your needs to go by the wayside and not be met. And as I said, all of this Capricorn energy is really good for tackling whatever problems you identify right now. So if you resonate with that and say to yourself, okay, yeah, I don't let people know when things bother me, and then months and months go by, and then finally I don't want to spend time with them, and then it causes a rift, and then the friendship feels weird. Okay, let's say you identify that as one problem. All that Capricorn would say, all right, so what am I going to do about it? How do I take charge of that situation so that I don't do that next time? How would a Capricorn speak? Well, Capricorn would be more inclined next time to say, hey, this is where I stand with this. This is what I would like to see happen, or this is what I need to happen. And they wouldn't just sort of passively put up with something. They would take charge of it and state where they stand if they're in a healthy Capricorn mode. So you might want to just vow to yourself, okay, I'm going to be more diligent in my future dealings with people. And if something bothers me, I'm going to say, I'm sorry, but it really did sorry, look at me apologizing. Because I got to work on this too. I have Chiron and Aries in my chart, so I know what this is about. Yeah, it can be scary to say to new friends or to old friends or family, hey, excuse me, but it actually bothers me when, or could you please? Yeah, if you're the empath type or you have that wound of self, it feels very weird or unnatural at the beginning to say those boundaries and to take charge of stuff on that level. It's not dominating others. Capricorn can do that. But we're talking like a healthy Capricorn energy will not dominate people. They'll be firm, and they'll have structure around them. But that when they're healthy, that structure or those boundaries are calm, and they're communicated well, and so they tend to give people a sense of stability or protection. So that's what ideally we're looking for here with navigating these, restless, pent up or low self-esteem, or we're looking at how do you communicate that in a strong, calm way without dominating people, because the shadow side of the Capricorn energy, with all of that Pluto and Venus as well as there, can be an ultimate power tripper. Well, you're going to bring this to that dinner on Sunday, by the way. So, excuse me, you didn't ask me. Capricorn can be very good at that. Just like announcing things to be reality or the way they want it to be, and you just accept and step up and do what they want. So you want to guard against that one. That's a trickier one to navigate. But when it's done in a healthy way, you will ask people their feedback, their permission, but you will also say, okay, well, based on that, this is what I'm going to do, or this is what I would need in this situation. If you let me know if that can happen. But they would be independent enough to take care of themselves and pull back if they get a no. Chiron and Aries will be like, oh, how come nobody, or get very angry, but behind the scenes, and tell their friends instead of talking to the person. And Uranus and Taurus would be like, no, it's fine. No, it's fine. Sure, yeah, you will do that. And then eventually it's like, rawr. So, but they have a long threshold before they get to the raw, So this is an interesting reading so far. Now, Venus and Pluto are also in that 9th house. So is Mercury, just into Aquarius. That'll speed things up with communication. It might allow you to have more dialogue about something in a more detached way than it did even just a few days ago. Could be a good timing to have a talk with somebody. If you feel you've got your boundaries pretty clear in your head, you feel like a sense of self-control over what you need to say or not say, could be a good time to have the conversation. Mercury in Aquarius, like I said, it's going to be more like intellectual, conceptual, a bit detached. It can be objective. It can look at the problem from the outside. It's not going to have the same kind of feeling of, maybe power dynamics that it did even a week ago. The only thing is we've got to be careful when Mars is in Sagittarius, because we tend to be blunt. We tend to just spit things out. They might be true. They might even be funny. But a lot of people won't find it funny. A lot of people will find Mars in Sagittarius rather tactless. So once again, we come back to the Earth planets and the Capricorn in its good side. Clear, independent, calm, controlled, thinking of the long term, giving permission, asking permission, and then taking a stance or making an ask. Sounds so businessy, eh? But it's really healthy behavior, even though it's relationships, because every relationship gets deep enough or complex enough at some point that to navigate everybody's little nuances, we need to have these skills. So, as I said, Mercury's just gone into Aquarius. Could be a good time after post-holidays, post-New Year. If you're thinking you need to have a talk with someone, could be a good timing. Now, what else is going on? Well, Venus and Pluto, as I mentioned, conjunct together, aspecting Neptune in a nice way, and aspecting the North Node in a nice way. Well, Venus and Pluto together is like a femme fatale. It's a very ambitious lady, very sexy lady, very magnetic. Almost like, that Betty Davis kind of like walking into a bar with a cigarette and just looking at you, dressed perfectly, can size you up, just gets her way. You might enjoy some of that. You might enjoy. Yeah, that's another thing too. I was going to say when you got Venus and Pluto and Sun, Moon, and Capricorn. I don't know. This is going off into another tangent, but it's very vintagey. It's very much about tradition. Capricorn can be about nostalgia, going back to another era, another time, different value system, different aesthetic. Because Venus and Pluto is there, I don't know, you might find you're attracted to different things style-wise or in your home, since we're talking about staying practical with your home. Maybe that Uranus and Taurus build up energy is like maybe some of you need to renovate or knock down a wall or change the color of a room, or it can be on that level, since for those of us who are stuck in the house, you can renovate your life on many levels. There's something playful about Venus, Pluto, and Capricorn, I find. Yes, it's a power. It can be like a power player, a vixen dynamic. Like I said, we want to be careful of power plays, but there's also something that can be really potent and really, expressive and sensual about that combo as well. So if you find a way, because it's going nicely with Neptune, that's another reason I'm saying, it's giving a bit of a glamour to that. That's why it gave me that vintagey feeling. And it's going well with the North Node in Gemini, which is about, and it's right on that ascendant. So it's like, let's play with my self-image. Let's reinvent, let's have some fun. So there's another side of this chart then, besides this practical stuff we mentioned, where maybe some of you will find a way to bring in a different approach and have a bit of fun with it, and see how you might want to tackle that talk from a different lens than you usually use. Like experiment with a different side of yourself. It's still very empowered, though, with Venus and Pluto. Now, what else have we got going on is Jupiter has moved into Pisces. Lovely. 0 degrees. Okay. This is nice. This is a great sign for this year. Oh, my Lord. Jupiter in Pisces, it's one of the best places to have it. It's so compassionate in this position. Jupiter expands everything that it touches. This is really great for the arts. This is really great for having patience and compassion. It's really wonderful for our spiritual life and development and a spiritual perspective. It's really great for meditation, yoga, therapy, all the healing arts. It's a time of increased compassion. And Jupiter lasts in the sign for about a year. So we have this beautiful sort of Kuan Yin or Mother Mary feeling around us this year as we go into 2022. This is lovely in terms of healing, in terms of people probably extending more space, more leeway, more understanding and patience to situations or their relationships than they have previously. It's a really good sign. Saturn is still in Aquarius. It will be a while. It's 12 degrees. It's not even halfway through. And Saturn is squaring off with Uranus pretty much all year. So they're both fixed signs. They're both strong. They both have a rebellious side, but in different ways in this case. And Saturn in Aquarius wants to rewrite the script of the world. They want new rules. They want new foundations. But even though Aquarius is rebellious and normally would just sort of throw something out and like knock down a building and start over versus fix the old one, this is Saturn, so it's not going to play out that way. It's Aquarian, but it's not as rebellious. It's still going to take its time, and it's going to rethink in a slower way, a deeper way, how to restructure our lives. Taurus, which is normally very slow and fixed and doesn't want to change, has Uranus in it, which is rebellious and making it change. So we have a very interesting tension between two rebellious and two stable energies that are mixing with each other. Rebellion and stability all year long. But until other things come along and activate it or touch it, it's not explosive, but it is a force of massive restructuring in our society that's going on. And you might see it in your life. It's a good time to accept that society is restructuring, and you may want to take a look at, how do I want to restructure my life too? And finally, Mars is square Neptune right now. Okay. Well, that's a self-sabotaging placement. Mars square Neptune, it's like as soon as you get the fire going, Mars and Sagittarius, let's run the marathon. Neptune says, or not. It just sort of kills it. Neptune and Pisces might say, oh, the atmosphere is so beautiful. I just love like the fog on the trees right now. And Mars and Sag says, snap out of it. Killed the buzz. Okay? So these two planets together in those two signs just buzz kill each other, cancel each other out. Now, what that means then is, again, some frustration, but usually it plays out as more like confusion, like, did they just do that? Did I imagine that? Or did they say it? Did they just imply? Is this just in my head? Maybe I should say something really, or maybe that's not a good idea. And you see, you just get this back and forth, not clear on what's actually going on. So very difficult to take action because of Mars Neptune. And Mars is also making a good aspect to Chiron, but Chiron was the wound of the self. We don't want to be blunt or not have tact when we're speaking of wounds. Could be messy. So we go back to this. The nicest energy in the chart is this sort of playful energy I mentioned of Venus, Pluto, and the Gemini North Node. Like, how do I want to reinvent myself? Can I do something subtle with the way I say things or the way I present myself in a subtle way? Can I bring a little more power to my presentation without being a power tripper? But can I bring a bit of gravitas? Can I bring a bit of, I want to say sultry, but that's not exactly the word. I think I've said enough. You get it. Be a little playful with with your approach and with your presentation right now as you go forward and sort of take charge of some of whatever problems are coming up that you are ready to address. All right, let's take a look now with our cards. I just love doing these moon readings every 2 weeks. It's so different, isn't it? Like, it's so different. So just imagine how different everybody is on the planet when we look at your own personal chart. And if you do know anybody born on this day, like if you can always send them these videos. It'll describe their little baby personality quite well eventually. All right. So the cards for the new moon. So our first card is the High Priestess. So this is always my card of trusting your gut, the higher self. There's always, deep down, your intuition already knows the answers. The hard part sometimes is just hearing it and being honest with yourself. So this is a great card for meditating and listening to your dreams and just really being honest about what is my gut truly telling me right now. Take time and space to listen, and your intuition is strong. Four of Wands, completion, Venus and Aries. So again, Venus and Aries is sort of like the antidote to the Chiron in Aries. This is someone who does think of themselves and does have a healthy sense of themselves. And so that means they can tell you, I like this and I don't like that. These are my preferences. These are my wishes. This is the kind of person I am. And they don't feel like they've got to apologize for that, or that there's any shame around that. It's like, I am who I am, take me or leave me. And this is, I'll tell you who I am. So this is a lovely card for all of us. So clearing the deck with your intuition and putting yourself first in a good way. Then we have the Devil. Well, it's setting us up. This is interesting because we've got to trust our intuition right now when we see the Devil come up. And we got to put ourselves first when we see the Devil come up, because there's a temptation in the air. There's either a person around who you don't see clearly. This can be someone who's manipulative, secretive, not showing their full hand. There's something going on behind the scenes and you don't know. They're not telling you. Sometimes it's not outright deception. Sometimes the person is just suppressing something. They don't even know themselves, even if they could tell you. But there's something that you've got to be careful when you see the Devil, that there's an undercurrent, or there's an intention that's not so pure. So again, trust your gut and put yourself first, and that will protect you, and you'll have a better sense whether something just is off. Oh, that's very good. Then we've got the Ace of Swords after that. So that is your mental clarity. That is your decision. That is your, I see through this. I got that number. I've got this person's number. That's what I got to say. That's what I'm going to do. Clarity. Love it. And we got the Hanged Man. Oh, gosh. Monkey wrench. Yeah, well, we've got 3 major arcana cards so far out of the 9 I'm going to pull. So this is interesting because the major arcana are passages through life stages, life lessons. They're not really about sort of mundane choices, like you could go this way or you could go that way, and what you choose will dictate what happens. The major arcana show up when there is a bigger thing to be done or dealt with or learned, and we have a little less of a choice. Now we've got the Devil the Priestess, and now the Hangman together. So this is a long-term process of trusting yourself and seeing through other people's intentions or lower selves or lower desires or addictive nature, or whatever the devil can represent. The Hangman means it's a long lesson. It's not like, oh, I spotted that one person once, oh, thank goodness that's over, I won't do that again. The Hangman is telling me, no, you've got to consistently do this and consistently change your mindset so that you see it and don't close your eyes and hope it goes away again. You have to stay with your eyes open now for life. Ooh. But the clarity that you get and that strong sense of self is worth it. Oh, beautiful. Look at that. The Ace of Cups. 2 aces in this now. Clarity and then love. Self-love leading to love for others, with others. Yes, we must, gosh, what a message. We must let ourselves see through the veils right now. You must let yourself see through illusions to get to this beautiful clarity and this beautiful sense of love. Man, deep reading for New Year's. All right, then we've got King of Swords. So King of Swords is always clever. He can outsmart us. To me, he's usually someone to be careful of, even though he's going to be brilliant and interesting and, usually very charming and clever and maybe good looking or talented or well off, whatever we might be like, wow, but he's all in his head. He doesn't operate from the heart. He operates from his mind. And so therefore, do we feel who this guy truly is? Can we count on him? Is he going to flip-flop like Jekyll and Hyde, like the wind on us? Is he going to outsmart us with his words or love bomb us? Is he going to have something going on that he's hiding? Got to be careful of a King of Swords. Try to figure out who that is around you, because this might be the Devil card. This might be who you need your clarity on. Yeah. And then we get the Moon beside it. So yeah, this guy is hiding something. Okay. Hiding or suppressing. Sometimes it's not hiding. Sometimes, like I said, sometimes it's not actively, oh, I'm hiding it from you consciously. Sometimes they're hiding from themselves. They're in so much denial, or they're suppressing something so badly. But the Moon card is not great either. It's usually secrets, covert behavior, addictions that they hide very well, unstable mental and emotional states of mind. So your King of Swords might not be so healthy-minded, might not be mentally well right now, maybe in general, but maybe just right now. You want to watch, open your eyes for that. Not to judge, but just to be aware of how to proceed, to be effective, to make a good choice, whether this is a good relationship for you to have, to know your boundaries of how much you can help or not help, if you're going to know whether you need to walk away or whether you're going to intervene or refer them. It's not about condemning people. It's so that you can take the most effective decision possible because your eyes are opened. And then 3 aces. Wow. Okay, so the Ace of Wands at the end is like, look at that, burst of fire, burst of will. Again, there's like clarity, but there's action. We've got 4 major arcana and 3 aces in this. 2 Aries cards. Yeah, it could not be clearer right now. Allow yourself to see through the veils. Accept people as they are, not as you would like them to be. I allow myself to see this person clearly. I allow myself to see myself clearly. Ask for what you need. Be clear with where you stand to people. Expect and insist that they are clear with you as well. And figure out the best way to communicate that. And if there's any kind of evasion or illusion, or you feel like something's weird, something's hidden, just back away and let yourself say, okay, show me, let me see what it is. Wow, this is a really powerful reading. All right, so the question that we're going to do for everybody right now, of course, is how's my new year going to be, right? How's my new year? That's what we're going to answer for each sign. How is 2022 going to be for your sign? All right. Oh, card fell out of the deck. So let's start with Aries. How is 2022 going to be for you, Aries? Four of Swords. Busy. Busy, 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 busy. You're going to be run off your feet this year. Wow. You're going to be talking so much. You're going to be meeting new people. You're going to be talking so much with all the people you already do know. Plus, you're adding more to your circles and your work. It's going to be, for the most part, really fun. And then at times it's going to be overwhelming and exhausting. So this card tells me you need to pace yourself. Aries, you can get very excited and just keep adding and doing and doing and doing. This is a Libra card. At some point, you're going to reach like a saturation where you just can't meet one more new person, or you can't have just one more conversation. You're tired. Okay. So to avoid things being too dramatic, you need to pace yourself and just be honest. Like, you know what? I just tell people I can have that talk, but can we do it tomorrow instead? Or I've got to go to bed by a certain time, or I'm just a wreck. I can't this time, or whatever limits you put, but just do it in a light way, but do it, because it's going to be a lot of fun. Otherwise, with this many people in and around you, anything could happen this year. You want to be cautious what you get involved in and how deeply. But you might also get involved and choose really well and be doing stuff that's super fun. Very interesting. Okay, Taurus. How is your 2022? The Hierophant, another major arcana. So this is deep reflection and learning. This can be a card where you go back to school or you self-study. This can be also a very spiritual card. It's basically showing a pope who has light around his head, so some form of enlightenment that he's reached. He's got a goddess at the bottom, representing that he's integrated his masculine and feminine energies. And he's got a star around his heart with a little child. So he is in touch with his inner child as well. And all around him are his demons, and he's facing his demons, and he's protecting himself from his inner demons. So I would say this means your year is going to be still, because of Uranus provoking a lot of change and a lot of inner reflection. Could be a great year to do, like I said, meditation or a lot of reading. Could be a great year to do a lot of journaling or writing. Could be a year where you need more time alone than usual. You might find a mentor or someone to consult. That could be a therapist, but it could also just be a coach or a mentor within your field or something. And it can be very rewarding year if you do that. But you'll need to give yourself some space to grow this year, some mental and emotional headspace. You can't just be workaholic. You need some heart space this year. All right, Geminis. Seven of Swords. Interesting. So you're moving or moving on. Seven of Swords is often a card of relocating and moving. If you don't physically move house or apartment, change city, country, you will be walking away and moving on from something else. Card says futility. There's something that you're just going to feel there's no point to it anymore. You're done and you walk. You could do that when it comes to a position at work. You could do that when it comes to even just a project at work. Say, you know what, I'm done with this, and speak to your boss. You're ready to walk away. You might be ready to quit a job because you're just tired of certain things. If it's a relationship related thing, you could be walking away also saying, it's pointless. What are we doing here? So there's definitely a walking away and a moving on, and a moving and relocating is a strong theme. So I'm sure you already have an idea what this is, and it's just a matter of time before you get to your final straw moment, and then you'll just do it. All right, Cancers. Cancers. So we already talked about the High Priestess. So what's that tell you about your year? Cancer, because you're so sensitive and empathic, and the whole world is going to be so codependent and emotional this year, we want you to completely be in your spiritual side and your intuitive side to navigate this time. Because there'll be heightened emotions and heightened bonding, and people will want to be close, and people will want to attach, and they're going to want advice, and they're going to seem like your best friend, and then they're going to go, whoop, and they might disappear on you. Or love-wise, you can't get too much in the throes of the emotion and passion. You can still enjoy yourself, but you have to listen just to your intuition about it, which is a tricky thing, but this is what I train people to do. What's the difference between craving a relationship and your intuition telling you, I think this is the one, versus I want this to be the one? It's very different than I know what's going on with this relationship. I know what I'm going to do next, versus, I hope I want to. But we want you to live from your goddess side, from your intuitive side. So you need to do whatever practices, whatever life habits, whoever you need to be surrounded by that keeps you strongly rooted in your own intuition, your higher self, your voice, not other people's voices. It's not running into everyone else. What do you think I should do? That's not your year. It has to come from you. That's the way we're going to avoid the codependent vibe that's in the air too. If you get close and then you feel people pulling away, and then you start to say, well, what do you think? And you try to draw them back into your life because you feel them pulling away. Well, instead of doing that, the intuition is, I'm feeling them pulling away. Why? Is that, what do I feel is going to happen? Are they coming back? Do I need to say something? Do I stay put? Do I want to pull back too? What's the vibe I get? Instead of, they're pulling away, oh no, and then go get them. That's a very Cancerian kind of thing to do. the codependency trap. So we want to avoid that this year. All right, Leos. Hmm. Another life-changing year, Leo. The death card is not bad. Don't be afraid. The death card is exciting. All it means is that there's going to be a change that shocks you, and then something better comes in its place. Something will suddenly end, or the rug will be pulled out, or something flops, but something better replaces it. And it usually happens very quickly. That's why the death card leaves us feeling like shocked. You won't believe how fast things turn around. If you had your heart set on a house, something happens to the house. Rug is pulled out. You're devastated. 10 days later, you find another house that's cheaper and better than the first one that you thought. You can't believe that you've found something even better. You can't believe how fast all this happened. That's sort of the death card. Thought you were in love, thought this was it. Something happens. Devastated again, shocked, don't know what to do. Within a few weeks, you meet someone else, something comes to light. You realize, oh my Lord, this wasn't my person. Someone else better comes in. Still, you're like, how the heck can that be? I thought I was so sure about that person. How can I be feeling so strong for this other one? And how do I know that this is right when I thought for sure the other one was? But no, it's this one. That's a good death card kind of year. Expect some surprises and shocks, but don't worry, it's going to turn out for the best. It's clearing out something that it's not supposed to be there. All right, Virgos. Five of Swords. Okay, Virgo, we got to talk. There's too many things that you're pissed off at. There's too many things. Too many things you've been letting bother you. Not because it's your fault. Some, okay, you're being picky, but not all of it. A lot of it is, why are you putting up with so much crap? Stop it. Stop it. Stop it. There's so many things pissing you off and annoying you that you don't actually have to do. You don't have to. You don't have to suffer so many fools as you think. Okay? So this year is going to be about letting go. I don't need to be permanently pissed off at society or worried about what the neighbors did wrong, or behavior police, or monitoring all the Karens in the world, or whatever you're doing that just leads you to being always disappointed, frustrated, pissed off at the world. You got to start to let go. Jupiter's in Pisces this year. It's your opposite, but it can be a good influence to help you just go, you know what? There goes my weird, silly neighbor again, doing that stupid thing that they do that's against the regulations. But, oh well, it's not my life. So what? They're just being them. It's fine. That's the kind of year you must detach and just go, oh well, not my monkeys, not my circus. Other things, if you're putting up with frustrations and things or people are grating on your nerves and aggravating you, you have to stop putting up with it and say something. Remove yourself from the situation, or say it's the boundary time. It's boundary year for you. Yeah, you will be much less frustrated this year if you follow that advice. Yeah. All right, Libras. Travels. Uplifted energy, Mercury and Sag. Optimism. Now, I know lots of Libras. I wouldn't say that this comes naturally to Libra, does it? This is a Sag Mercury card. This is usually, Sag Mercury is like, they'll spit out their opinion. They're full of opinions. They know where they stand, and they're very clear where they stand, and they'll just hit you with a blunt object and tell you, that's right, that's wrong, or no, that's what I think. Libra is always, maybe, but I can see the other side. So ultimately, Mercury and Sagittarius would be telling you to not be so afraid to have a little more of a stand or a stance on things. That would be interpersonally. Put your foot down sometimes. Say, oh, this is actually what I have decided. That's how I see it. That's what I would like. So it's encouraging you to be a little more direct this year. The uplift that comes with that, finally getting out of the endless weighing things in your mind. If you can just put in motion a couple of things that you just finally get off your chest and say, that's what it is, you're going to release so much weight of always weighing and rethinking. The travel side is interesting. Definitely, I've seen lots of Libras traveling. So I think it's going to be a good year overall once we get out of the winter time. I don't think this whole year is going to feel like a lockdown. I think there'll be a lot of traveling once we get into the spring and the summer and the fall. So take advantage and do some sightseeing, road tripping, exploring. If not, for now, just plan them in your head. But it's definitely a year for you to increase your sense of freedom and optimism. And so you're going to have to let go of some of the head breaking that you've been doing, that you're prone to do, But overall, a good year. All right, Scorpios. We've got a 6 science card. Our year is a 6 year. Mercury in Aquarius. So looks like a lot of academic or mental activity for Scorpio this year. Mercury in Aquarius is like, doesn't quite go with you. It's not a natural state. So you're sort of detaching and analyzing things a lot more this year. You might be doing some sort of process or therapy. You might be studying something or writing, or this is sort of a feeling of like going over things with a bit of a fine-tooth comb, reading the manual kind of thing. It's going over the nitty-gritty details in a way that's sort of emotionally detached, which is not very Scorpio. So that tells me that you might be in a year where you need to pull back and get some perspective and detachment from something going on in your life so you can really see it clearer. And the science card is great, though, for getting your head, getting things in order mentally, and for making quite precise and good strategic and small decisions that lead to more clarity and efficiency. Often this card comes up related to surgeries, which I'm not predicting for Scorpios, but it's just like it's a surgical type of energy that you're going over your life with, or perhaps certain relationships that you're taking a surgical approach to really diagnose what's going on. If you apply this to your work or projects, then it's still that same science or surgical energy. So there's a lot of mental energy going towards ordering your mind around things. So you will also need a lot of time to yourself or to rest if that's what's going on. I think it's a good year to get a lot of things in order, and it'll also keep you, again, like I said, for Cancers, it'll keep you out of the throes of these waves of huge emotion that we're going to see in the Tiger year, to just step back with that, skillful surgeon approach. All right, Sagittarius. Interesting. You've got the Hermit. Sag, usually, I've known a number of Sagittarians. If you read the classic books about Sag, it makes it sound like they're always out at a party. And yeah, a lot of them have that side. But all the ones that I've known, ironically, spend a lot of time alone too. And they like to spend their time alone, and they need their wild time, going off into the woods, letting it out on the hockey arena, running, cycling, letting off their steam, or climbing the mountain, or whatever they're doing. They need their alone time to process their connection to their higher self, and to purge a lot of buildup in their physical and emotional selves before they can go back out there and be, funny and charming at the party again. So Hermit tells me you need some time alone this year. You need maybe more of that. And again, I'm wondering whether you will also be feeling more the effects being pulled in to all the emotion of the year. And it's another message for you of pull a bit back from it and watch instead of getting sucked in. A lot of, the Hermit can be a beautiful time, even if you are spending more time alone, because he also has so much light. So there's a lot of things that you might want to be considering, again, for the long-term picture, the big picture, your long-term future, the state of the world, the state of the planet, what to do about bigger problems in the world than just yourself could be on your mind, and you probably want to pull back into your shell a little bit, or go off on your own to have that time to ponder or to get insight. Yeah. Just make sure you don't take the whole weight of the world on your shoulders this year. It's good to care about where the world is going, but it's also necessary that we know we can't stop certain things that are set in motion. We can adapt to them, and we can help facilitate things. Some sort of mix of, I can change the world, but I also have to accept the world. There's something deep going on for you this year, Sag, why you need the Hermit card, why you need to be alone a bit more to think. All right, Capricorns. And happy birthday to the Capricorns. And your card is a Capricorn card. The snake and the infinity symbol and the change card. So people always hate this card because it doesn't tell them anything concrete. It just says everything's changing and always does and always will. So cycles of dark and light, yin and yang, seeing the good, seeing the bad, up and down. It's an infinity symbol. It's not a roller coaster. It's not going crazy here, but just know that if you are in a dark chapter of your life or your emotions, that it doesn't last forever. You can find the light again. Things always come back. There's always both in the universe. Above the foggiest day, above the darkest night, the sun is still shining. So you might be philosophical this year. You might want to take a look at studying or listening to things, reading stuff that helps you make peace with change or helps you make peace philosophically with how you need to see the world. Maybe you need a new philosophy going forward about how to look at life and look at yourself that's lighter and more uplifting. Not like spiritual bypassing and pretending things are great all the time. It's how do you cope with, what is your life philosophy that's going to get you through the ups and downs? The main word I get for you this year is a philosophical year. I sort of like that. I'm going to leave it there. Aquarius. Ten of Cups. So this makes sense. The water year and Tiger affiliated with Aquarians. You also will see lots of social activity, lots of friends around, lots of people around, lots of people who want to talk to you. Lots of people want to spend time. Lots of people at work need to talk to you. Getting involved, whether you want to or not, in people's lives and emotions and personal dramas. You might find yourself counseling or guiding people more than usual this year. I just feel for some reason everyone's coming to you. Be careful then not to burn out. This is often my burnout card. And it's emotional burnout. So as you can see, the cups are full and they're beaming and they're overflowing. And at the top, you can sort of see like a reddish cloud at the top. For me, this always feels like somebody's head and neck down there. And the cloud is like a brain fog. And it's like too many people, too much emotion. I'm saturated. I'm full. You feel tired. You might get headaches. You might feel spaced out, overwhelmed, can't make decisions. Just, you're going to handle a lot this year, and it'll be fun too. And it'll be great that people trust you and want to come to you, and there's a sense of you leading people or guiding people. That's very rewarding. The only thing to just know is, okay, what are my typical signs intuitively when I'm too tired or I'm burnt out? You're still going to need to do a bit of the boundary boss thing this year. Not as much as other signs. You'll be able to be in it, plugged in, tapped into everything. But just guard against that burnout thing. And otherwise, I think there'll be a lot of progress this year, whether it's new friends, closer friends, new relationships, leadership at work, new roles at work, more responsibilities, but also, the cred and the recognition that comes with that. But just careful of the burnout. All right, Pisces. Oh, lovely. The Empress card. Okay. Well, you've got Jupiter in your sign, and that's going to give you some good fortune, some luck, a feeling of things being on your side or going your way, a feeling of like space expansion, support from some source in the universe or people around you. So I would say the Empress means you're going to probably play that nurturer role, that mother role, this year for people more easily. You might find it's just flowing more naturally to be generous or take that moment to do something kind or patient for somebody out and about. Again, people are going to come to you, but not as heavy as what I said for Aquarius. Not at all. This feels like, you know, a mom who's enjoying her kids. That's the vibe I get of this card for you. So you're either enjoying your friends, your family, your coworkers, your pets, your neighbors. It's a nice vibe. Also, I think there's going to be more time for you to have your own me time and for you to have some rest. And I see a lot of you doing some sort of hobby or pursuit. Could be creative, could be you're reading all the books you didn't get to read, could be you finally learned the guitar when you said you would, something like that. But there's something where you're doing some pleasurable things for yourself that you haven't done, which I think is going to be great. I think it's a lovely year coming up for you. I think you're going to feel really good in your skin this year. So that is beautiful. I love leaving that off in a nice note for everybody. Now, before we go, if you're still here, I offer a reading called the Wheel of the Year. I love to do for January. If you would like that, basically I pull one card for each month of your year and we put it in a wheel, and I would take a picture and send it to you so that you have it. And then you can see month by month what card is governing your year. It's just another way to tap in. And if you're more inclined towards astrology, we can take a look at your astrology chart, and I would tell you what planets, how these planets for the whole year are affecting your particular chart and what you might expect. Maybe I'll make another little video to let people know that I'm doing this, because these are really great tools to tap into what's to come for the year. It helps you just get that little bit of distance of perspective so that you navigate and you make really smart choices when you get perspective. Otherwise, this has been a really interesting New Year's reading, and I wish everybody the very best for the new year for 2022. And I'm here to help in any way that you feel compelled to come. And yeah, let's see what it brings. All right, take care.